Alright, I'm Ethan Butler Hawkins with KUAF, and this is the Lunch Hour Podcast brought to you by George's Majestic Lounge Happy Hour. If you want to introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Juan Garcia, known as Moe Chef or Chef Moe.
Hi, I'm Pura Coco. You can call me Coco. I'm a local artist.
My name is Irvin Camacho. I am the host of the District 3 podcast and also a community organizer here in Northwest Arkansas.
One of the things I like to ask to both the restaurant owner and the musician every time is what made you want to start doing what you do? So I know you said you opened the restaurant 7 years ago, or the food truck rather.
Mm-hmm.
Like what made that be your passion? And same for you with music. Like what?
Yeah. Do you want to go first? Or?
I'll let you go first.
Okay. I've actually, I lost track of that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I wanted to start, and I'm just now reconnecting with it. But truthfully, the reason that I wanted to start it was because I saw the amount of impact music can make in somebody's life. So I wanted to be a part of that, just connecting with others.
Absolutely.
And you have a great voice.
You do.
Thank you.
Because if I wish I could sing, but I can't, right? But yeah, you do. You have a great voice, and I'm really excited to see how you've grown throughout these past few years. Because I've known you since you were like 18, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know how long ago that's been, but just seeing your growth and stuff, it's been really, really cool.
Well, for me, I started back in 2015 with the food truck. It was a friend and I that we just one day they're like, hey, let's just open a food truck and see how it goes. And here I am with the food truck in a little brick and mortar location, but it's small, but it feels like a big restaurant at the same time. And every day it's just something new, something exciting, especially being in the entertainment district. For some reason, it's just fun there, making food and seeing all these people going out and partying, eating our food, and it's just exciting. It's an exciting thing to do. So.
And you started in 2015, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so it's been now, what, 7 years?
7 years.
That must be like that must have so many experiences considering where you're at, considering you're on Dixon.
Yes,
so many
definitely.
Cool
even with the food truck, the fun thing about the food truck is that you get to be in every big event in the city.
Oh, yeah.
And that is exciting. I mean, every big event there is, we usually are invited. And that's fun because, they could be, beer, festivals, bicycle events, anything, we're there.
What made you and your friends or you and your friend commit to that?
Back in 2015, there was a search in the food truck, I guess you can call it need. There was food trucks popping up everywhere, and we saw an opportunity, and we took it. We actually built the truck ourselves.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
Yes, and we kept it that way. And even though I could have actually upgraded, I decided not to. I want to mention something that after about 5 months into the business, my friend decided not to continue because she did not see a growth opportunity there. And then I just stick with it. I just say I'm gonna grow it somehow. Yeah. And like I say, it's for me keeping the food truck was more sentimental than anything, and until today, and I'm still gonna keep it. I'm going to improve it. I try to improve it every day, trying to do things here and there to it. But to me, it is sentimental, and also it's kind of like iconic because, you see these little school bus, short bus, especially, it brings memory. Food trucks, to me, is like an ice cream truck to a kid, to an adult,
Yeah.
And so mine being a short bus, transforming into this little, food truck, blue, sky blue, with some funky paints on it. It's fun. People like it. People, when they see it, they like it. They love it. And I think for me, it's exciting. When I hear the comments, I think it really does something for me.
Can you talk about
Yeah.
that combination of tacos and churros? I think it's an interesting one.
It's I wanted to when we started with the name, we just didn't know what to how to name it. Like, man, how do we name it? We need to find something that people understand. Hey, we're selling this and this, and the churro part was okay. We need a dessert. So, what is the most traditional thing? Even though churros are not traditional of Mexico, they're originally from Spain, but they were, a lot of things from there. They're actually we use it in our cuisine nowadays, and we make our own ways too. We have our own way to cook them in Mexico, and that's how we basically name it. We say, okay, let's just say tacos and churros, and then Mo is it's just it's for more,
Yeah.
but then it stick like that for Mo tacos and churros, and then everybody start calling me Mo,
Yeah.
and now I'm Mo, and everybody knows me as Chef Mo, and people, friends, everybody calls me Mo, and I got used to it. I love it. My brain actually reacts to it. When someone calls your name and your brain just like looks, and that's me right
That's
there
me.
now.
Yeah.
I got used to it. So
What were you guys doing before that? Like you and your friend? Were you guys working together?
yeah, we were just friends. She had a job, and I was working as well. And so, like I said, we just one day decided to put some money together and kind of
Yeah.
go from there.
So you guys weren't working like at the same job?
No, no, no.
Oh.
We were just friends, and like I said, I talked about it to other friends, but she was the only one that decided to do it. Even though she just felt like having your own business was hard, because it is hard,
Yeah.
especially at the very beginning. When nobody knows you, nobody recognizes what you do. It's hard, and she just decided that it wasn't for her, and she wanted to go back and work again and just get a safe paycheck. You can call it like that. But for me, it was like, okay, I'm going to stick with working and doing the food truck both.
Oh, you were doing both?
Yeah, well, I did it for a while. I did it
That's
for a
tough.
while.
Wow.
And it's just because, I just felt like it was going to grow. My parents, ever since I was a kid, they own businesses, and not just here in Mexico. So I felt like it is possible. If you really want it, it is possible. I mean, whether it's a small, big, medium, it doesn't matter. It is possible. You just got to stick to it.
Talking about like dreams, and then going back to ancestry when we mentioned Mexico and Spaniards, you're of Salvadorian ancestry.
I am. Yeah.
How is it as a Salvadorian Salvadorian American person, navigating the musical space in Northwest Arkansas when there really isn't a lot of Salvadorian artists in our area?
I had a hard time even kind of like starting. So whenever I first started, I was a part of the Latinx Theater Project. And it wasn't until then that I finally, well, I did write a song before that, but it was, it was pretty bad. It really was.
We all got one of those.
Yeah, exactly. So I first wrote a song, and then I definitely had a lot of people saying, why don't you write your own songs? And it wasn't truly until the Latinx Theater Project that I realized that everybody's story is important, and everybody can connect with each other because of how many people were connecting with that play, and what I wrote for that play as well.
Like, there are artists in our area that like sing regional music and reggaeton and some rap, but I feel like a lot of the spaces that you're in, you're probably the only person
Yeah.
that's Latinx that's out there singing. So it's kind of like you kind of not only represented a community, but there's also a lot of like responsibility on your shoulders to represent, of like what the community expects from you, kind of thing.
I always felt like a responsibility to live up to expectations. I was a first gen,
You're the only child,
No, I have a younger sibling who does.
but that responsibility of like a
Exactly.
Latina female in a family is a lot. It
Exactly.
is a lot.
But
But you're doing a good job.
thank you.
You're doing a great job, and you're one of the people that I see that the community has kind of taken in and like supports at every, because you do a bunch of concerts a week. And I see a lot of the same people like showing up to support you. So that honestly means that you're connecting with folks in a way that
Yes.
others haven't been able to. I think it's pretty cool.
When was that? When was the theater project that you wrote your own song for
Oh,
the first
man.
time?
So I did like a dual enrollment program for my high school and my college, or my local community college. So I think I was a senior in high school, sophomore in college. Yeah. So I'm like, how long ago was that? I'm not.
I don't know, like how my-
Yeah, I don't really know, but I was in high school. Honestly, I would not be here without my community, without the people that have helped me.
How does that work to drop an EP? Like, what's that process like?
Oh man, I didn't even understand how much went into it. If
Where
I'm
do you
being
begin?
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Where do you begin? I mean, like, it was like, what am I gonna call myself? First of all, what am I gonna call the EP? How do I find the rights to beats? I didn't even know where to start.
Just
So
post on Facebook, be like, send me beats to my email. People do that, and it works apparently somehow.
it works.
Yeah, I've seen some people do it, and they get beats. I don't know how that works or how they get these beats,
Oh
but
wow.
someone's gotta give us some info. Maybe Jesper will after the show. Can you talk a little bit about? Did you change your artist name? Were you just Coco before, and you
Oh,
evolved
no.
to Pura Coco, or were you always Pura Coco?
I was always Pura Coco, which I didn't really know what to call myself, and I knew that just by going by Coco, you couldn't like Google me, if that makes sense. Because Piff had said that. He was like, I wanted to go by Epiphany, I think is what he said, yeah. And you can't really find that. So he went by Big Piff.
Oh, makes sense. Yeah, I think it is important to highlight specifically, like what your thought process, and some people might not have asked you before in the past, like why you chose that name. And your album, the one that your EP that you put out, you had a mix of Spanish and English. Was that something that was important to you to sing in Spanish as well?
Back to the name, I completely forgot about this. I was gonna change my name again. And then I kind of remembered how many people have a hard time in the very beginning saying Pura Coco. And I was like, I love that, because like we were forced to learn English. And that was like,
Yeah.
I feel a disconnect because of that, like to my family. And I'm like, I love that I'm kind of like forcing them
Someone to try?
to try to say Pura Coco.
I feel you on that.
And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to keep it. But back to what was the question again?
I was asking, your EP had a mixture of Spanish, and then you also had English. I mean, English was like the biggest part, right?
Yes.
But you put some Spanish in there. Was the Spanish part that you put in there, was that important for you to do so?
Yeah, that's my mom talking in the very beginning. I wanted to incorporate my mom in some way. And of course, like Spanish is really important. And like I've said, like I feel disconnected. Right now I'm like listening to Spanish podcasts, trying to like still keep it.
Get back in it.
Exactly.
And that's hard to do, right? Because like, well, first of all, I think bilingual. So I talk Spanish and English without even thinking about it. But then if you don't practice your Spanish, you tend to start talking like if you're born here and like folks expect us to. People call them no sabo kids, but like and they use that as some sort of like stigma in our community, but they don't see that sometimes, our families only speak English, or sometimes even back in like the 80s, your parents would tell you don't speak Spanish, try to speak English so that you can assimilate and that people won't look at you in a weird way in this country. So people just kind of stop talking Spanish a lot of the times. So
Absolutely.
I learned about that because we used to I don't want to say make fun, but that no sabo kid title in our community is like for someone that doesn't speak proper English. I mean proper Spanish because they were born here. But then when you really take a step back and look at the situation, it really isn't something as that's black and white,
Absolutely.
And I think it's important to have these conversations. And Mo, you talk Spanish and English, and you told me you were from Chihuahua.
Yeah.
How does that journey look like, for you coming from Chihuahua here to Fayetteville, Arkansas, which is like two different worlds?
It's actually it was exciting. I moved to United States when I was 17 years old. I didn't know much other than good morning, door, floor, sky. Yeah, colors maybe. Moved here back in 2004, and then I always when you're in Mexico, you pretty much watch every American movie there is, and I always wanted to be in high school here. I mean, it was my dream. You see these high school movies and all the things that they do, and then when I moved here, I was like, man, my opportunity is here. I want to go to high school, and I went to high school. I graduated from Spindle High School, but it was the most.
No, I went to Rogers actually.
Rogers High School.
I actually went to Rogers for a little bit, to the Mounties.
And then you moved to
I moved to Spindle. Well, we were living in Rogers for a little bit. I went there for 6 months to that high school, and then I moved to Spindle, and I graduated there in 2007. But it was exciting. I think high school here, when I went to high school here, it was the most exciting thing ever. I compared to Mexico, I honestly didn't feel like something I had to do. It was like something that I would go every day and enjoy it every day. And it was exciting. And then when I saw my first homecoming here, oh my gosh, it was mind-blowing. it was definitely mind-blowing. Because we don't have that kind of stuff. And then when I saw the lockers here, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have my own locker. It's unbelievable.
Small things.
I mean, sometimes,
Yes.
you take that for granted, but when you don't have it, when you don't experience it, when you have it, it's like, man, I'm living the dream. I am living the dream. And it was fantastic. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. It never felt like a job. It never felt like something I had to do. I graduated, like I said, back in 2007, and I enjoy every bit of it. I learned English. I still have accent. But to me, accent is like adding spices to food. It just makes it better. That's all.
I like that.
And I never tried to. I took linguistic classes in college, but they to say yellow, they told me you have to do this yellow. I said no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say yellow. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, I'm sorry. And that's how I've been ever since, okay? And I don't apologize about it. I mean, I try to do my best, of course, for people to understand me, but I just, I know what I know. I try to improve every day, of course, but, my accent is there. It'll always be there. And like I say, it's...
There's a quote, man, that says, I'm going to paraphrase here, but it says that an accent is the sound of bravery. Yeah. Because someone's being brave enough to try to speak a different language that's not their home language, and that's a brave thing to do. So you should be proud of your accent. I think you are.
And
cool to see.
And honestly, nowadays I think in Spanish and English like nothing. I can go back and forth like lighting. You just get used to it. But like you were saying earlier, you mentioned something about English and Spanish when you have family. I got to that point where I've forgotten some words in Spanish, but not social words. More like you can call it educated words. Sometimes I'm like, man, how do I say that in Spanish? And I say it in English because I just don't know any other way, or I forget the word specifically. And it's because when you spend enough time here, you only hear social Spanish. Yeah. Everyday Spanish. And it just, your brain gets used to that. And once you start needing something more, I guess educated, you forget the word.
Like science and engineering or something.
Yeah, or there's some words that sometimes I completely forget, and it just happens.
Medical words I can.
And there's not about no sabo kid, but it happens. It just happens.
Talking about saying wrong words, I have a story that I would interpret for my dad whenever he would go to like the clinic and stuff. And one time the doctor was like, he needs to take better care of his lungs because he's smoking. And I tried translating lungs to Spanish, and I said tus lonjas, which means jelly rolls. Your jelly rolls in Spanish. And my sister was there. Luckily, she caught it, and she was able to interpret it. But I think it happens to all of us. We all have, especially medical lingo. It's like I've looked at the menu already. I saw that y'all have like mangoneadas too. Yeah. Y'all added mangoneadas recently?
What?
Yeah, we just added recently. They're fun. I mean, they've been around forever. But
Yeah.
when I add things here to the menu, I had to add them slowly. I had to see how they do, and that's pretty much the way we do it here. In Spring, you can add them, and it's not a big deal, you know.
Just try everything.
Yeah.
There's some stores that just be putting like everything together, and it's like, just take it, see how it is. But
No, I like to add things slowly and then introduce people, because the majority of our customers are students, locals. Our customer base, Spanish-wise, it's only about 20% of the Latinos come out here. They come out here on the weekends, pretty much. But during the weekdays, I mean, we hardly ever see them. It's just because of location, But so I don't want to introduce too many things, and then they just don't sell anything. So I introduce things slowly, and then things like mangonadas. It's just a simple
How's
drink.
that doing so far?
It's actually doing great.
Yeah.
It's actually doing great. It's selling pretty quick. We can't keep up with it. I bought a slushy machine, with 2 containers, and they both have to be always full.
I want one now.
Yeah, that sounds so good.
And they're delicious. It's a very refreshing drink, but it's also a candy, a dessert. So I tell people, you get 2 things. You get a refreshing drink, but so you're gonna have dessert. So it's pretty good. I love it.
I think it's cool that y'all have incorporated mangonadas, and looking forward to everything else that you do business-wise. I'll look for that Moe at the beginning of the business and I'll know it's you. Whether it be
Yes.
Moe's ice cream, Moe's burgers.
Yeah. And I try to do everything there. I try to do even the ice cream. We do have 2 Estempo ice cream, which is the horchata ice cream and the dulce de leche. I make those. I used to make them all. I used to make the vanilla, the strawberry, everything from scratch. But then,
Really?
yes,
Wow.
it gets to a point where it is too much.
Yeah.
And you just can't do it all. And sometimes you just have to relax, chill back a little bit, and do, a few things. Not all of it. And definitely try the horchata ice cream too. It's really, really good.
That sounds good.
I've been studying, doing the cooking for 7 years now, and I got a lot of experience when I was vegetarian. I was 3 years vegetarian because I just want to be healthy, and I fall into that trend. But I'm not a vegetarian anymore. But,
Get it right, folks.
no, I just got back to the real world. Okay, nothing.
Back to reality.
Nothing
It's
against
hard to
them.
do it.
I
How
love
was
them.
it whenever you first had to or whenever you first ate meat again?
It felt great.
Yes.
It was amazing.
You didn't get sick?
Yes, no, and you know what? The first thing I did, I went to get a steak.
Oh.
A very, very red blooded steak. Yes, I
Okay.
missed it. I said, man, I almost made love to it. Even though I went back to meat, I can still cook a lot of things that are not, don't have any meat on them, and that are great, and they will satisfy you. They will, make you feel good, even without the meat part.
Does the restaurant have like a lot of vegetarian cuisine?
No, it does not. And the reason why, it's because I added, there is a taco option, there are vegetarian, and there is a burrito option. But I'll make sure that those items that the vegetarians are made with, they taste great. They're good. They're good quality. Because I want to give you an experience. And another reason why I don't have vegetarian options is because we're in the entertainment district. I'm going to be honest with you. There's a lot of vegetarian ladies at 6 p.m. And when it turns around 12 a.m., they forget that they're vegetarian. They start ordering chicken. And it happens every time. Trust me. Once they have few drinks in them, they forget about it. And there goes the chicken. Okay? And believe it or not, it happens a lot. More than you
That's
think.
funny.
Awesome. Thank y'all for coming out. Thank you for helping host with Jasper John.
My pleasure.
This was a lunch hour brought to you by George Majestic Lounge Happy Hour. Cut.
Hey.